Movies that depict war and military conflict have been around almost since the very beginning of moving pictures. From films that honor those who serve their country in battle to movies that have an anti-war stance, you will find some of the best war movies ever made if you sign up for a Netflix streaming subscription. We have picked our top 10 best war movies on Netflix that are currently available. As you can see, war films can be set in many different time periods, and a couple even cross genre lines into horror and satire. Black Hawk Down. This 2001 film from director Ridley Scott is one of the best war films ever made, depicting US soldiers during the real-life events of Somalia as it falls apart in 1993. The movie shows an attempt by the US to kidnap two major lieutenants of a Mogadishu warlord. Unfortunately, the mission resulted in two of the US Army's Black Hawk helicopters being shot down by enemy forces. The rest of the movie depicts in a highly gritty and realistic way how the US soldiers on the ground tried to rescue the Black Hawk crews to get them to safety. Black Hawk Down includes performances from a lot of young actors who would later go on to huge roles in other major films, including Tom Hardy, Eric Bana, Nikolai Costa-Waldau, and Orlando Bloom, along with already established actors like Sam Shepard, Josh Hartnett, and Ewan McGregor.
You get a war. That's how the old guys saw it. I'd have the rest of my life to tell folks how I made history.
Door did that?
Sandcastle. This Netflix war movie takes place during the war in Iraq, and it's based on the real-life experiences of screenplay writer Chris Rosner. Private Matt Okre may have joined the army to help pay for the college before 9/11, but once war breaks out, he finds himself unenthusiastically shipped over to the Middle East when his unit is assigned to repair a broken water system in a dangerous part of the country. He comes face to face with the reality of dealing with insurgent forces. The film addresses the stress and insecurity of young soldiers during the conflict and rings true with the experiences of those sent overseas. Platoon. This classic war movie on Netflix won an Academy Award for Best Picture and had a huge impact on pop culture in general when it was released in 1986. Director and writer Oliver Stone took his own experiences as a soldier in the Vietnam War and created a fictional film about the conflict. However, his storytelling and direction made Platoon look and feel a bit like a documentary. And at the time, it was called the first movie about Vietnam War that depicted how it really was for the ordinary combat soldier to fight in that controversial conflict. It also has some amazing performances by Willem Dafoe and Tom Berenger as two army sergeants on opposite moral sides, each trying to win over a new private played by Charlie Sheen.
We are here to build, to protect, to support the civilian population. To that end,
War Machine. This Netflix original war movie is also one of the biggest budgeted films. Released in 2017, this is a fictional movie, but it's based on the real-life exploits of US Army General Stanley McChrystal. Brad Pitt plays General Glenn McMahon, who has been asked to try to wrap up the current war in Iraq in 2009. This satirical movie shows General McMahon trying to get more troops together for one final push to win the war, but he is faced with opposition on several military and political fronts to his plan. War Machine uses humor to show what the military has to deal with besides fighting the enemy, and it has a huge, some might say over-the-top performance by Pitt. Tears of the Sun. This 2003 Netflix war movie stars Bruce Willis as the leader of a US SEAL team assigned to rescue a US citizen who is trapped in Nigeria during a nasty civil war. Naturally, this rescue operation does not go as planned, and the SEAL team soon becomes involved in saving Nigerian refugees. This is more of an action-oriented war movie that also has some messages it wants to make about how we might treat refugees in a military conflict. Schindler's List. Director Steven Spielberg wanted to make a movie about the terrible events of the Holocaust during World War II, but also wanted to make a film that was ultimately hopeful rather than completely depressing. The result was 1993's Schindler's List, which chronicles the real-life efforts of German businessman Oskar Schneider to save as many Jews from the Nazi extermination camps as he could. It's not easy to watch, but it's one of the best war movies on Netflix, and indeed one of the best movies on Netflix, period. It's powerful and emotional and proves the human spirit can overcome even the worst atrocities. Free State of Jones. This 2016 war movie on Netflix set during the US Civil War stars Matthew McConaughey as a leader of a rebellion in Mississippi that tried to form its own state. After becoming disenchanted with the Confederacy's policies of stealing crops from farmers, he returns to his hometown and befriends a number of runaway slaves, joined by other soldiers who have deserted the Confederate cause. He leads a movement in open revolt to the newly declared secessionist republic. It's based on the true story of Newton Knight, whose legacy is controversial in a state where racial tensions still run high today.
What is it?
It's a horse they found wandering about in no man's land.
What kind of an horse?
A miraculous kind of an horse, be my guess.
War Horse. Director Steven Spielberg returns to our war movies on Netflix list with this 2011 movie. Set during World War I, it depicts how the owner of a beloved horse deals with the animal leaving to join the UK cavalry. The film depicts the horrible events that the horse, Joey, has to endure in the war. It also shows its original owner, played by Jeremy Irvine, fighting himself. As it happens, he gets reunited with Joey. Look for MCU actors Tom Hiddleston and Benedict Cumberbatch in supporting roles as two British cavalry officers. Triple Frontier. This is a very recent Netflix original war movie released earlier in 2019. Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Garrett Hedlund and Pedro Pascal all play members of a former US Special Forces team who feel they need a new challenge. The result is that this five-man team decides to invade Colombia to steal money from a major drug lord. However, getting the money is easy compared to the team getting out of the country alive as they are attacked by the crime lord's forces. It's an action-packed movie that is pure popcorn fun if you love fast-paced films. Spectral. One of Netflix's first original films, this 2016 war movie is perhaps the most out-there film on the list. Spectral has a US Special Forces team enter the war-torn country of Moldova. However, instead of normal human soldiers, this team has to face off against ghost-like entities. Yes, this is a ghost war movie, but it's also pretty action-packed and fun to watch. It really gets going in the second half as the US forces, with some help from scientists, create weapons designed to fight off the ghosts.